everyone. Welcome back to the Band of Brothers podcast. I'm Elton. This, as always, is Andy.
Hello.
And we are here to earn 85 points and get out of town because we are covering Band of Brothers points.
Yeah. Get me out of his chicken shit outfit. Wait, that's the wrong film and the wrong outfit.
It is, certainly is, but I get what you mean with that, yes. So we got to earn 85 points out of this. What the hell?
How are we allocating points? I'm pretty sure I have enough points from the Grand Prix podcast, but I don't know over here.
Oh, I see. I don't have anything for it. No, I'm well down on points. I've probably got about 15, 16 points, I imagine. Nowhere near the allocated amount.
Nope.
Wow. So yeah, we're covering points. This is the last episode we're doing on the Band of Brothers, and then the feed is not going away, but there'll be nothing added to it.
This is it. This our last visit with Easy Company.
Yeah.
It's a little emotional, isn't it?
It has been emotional, yeah. I rewatched this episode again this morning.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Those talking heads at the end, eh?
Well, in the background, I was going to say this at the end, but in the background at the moment, I've got the more talking heads going on because there's a little documentary on one of the other discs in my collection, and it is just with Easy Company. And they're just retailing exactly what happened through the episodes that we've just covered. That is hard hitting. That is mega. But I would highly recommend anyone, once you'd finished all 10 episodes, and Saving Private Ryan, of course.
Of course.
But then go watch the documentary after. Do it. Definitely do it. So, yeah. I'm going to be rewatching it again later on today. No doubt about it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So, we got points ahead of us. How are we going to tackle this one? Because there's lots of different scenes in this, but action, there's not a lot of action, but it's when it does come about, once again, it's kind of hard hitting.
Well, it almost, and not to trivialize it, but it feels like it's the last day of school. Totally. It's like, okay, we've had to come to school, but no one's in the mood for doing anything. We know that, home time is just around the corner.
Nobody brought any games. Nobody's brought any electronical equipment.
TV's been wheeled out. No videos.
The TV's been wheeled out, but they've used the cable for something else in the staff room, and so we can't put the TV on. That's how it feels. Mm-hmm. So,
but yeah, it feels less like war at this point and more like summer camp.
Yeah. Yeah, there's familiar faces popping up as well.
Uh-huh.
I can't wait to get to that.
Well, then how about mixing things up a little bit? Let's start at the beginning.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, why not?
Controversial, I know, but let's see where we go from here.
Okay, that sounds good to me, man. The very beginning, there are no talking heads.
There are not, no. For the first time, if you'd forgotten to talk about them, it wouldn't have mattered because they're not there.
Yes. Yeah, we will see them later on. So yeah, there's no talking heads. It's almost what you call a cold opening then, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
You have the intro, but you're used to seeing the talking heads. That's what gets you into it.
We're used to having some context over what we're about to see.
Yeah.
Whereas this time instead, you just get, you get the title card, July 1945. Was it Zelamsi? Something like that.
I will Austria. Go with your pronunciation of that. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, you can blame me when I get it wrong. And yeah, it's old, beautiful look out over the lake, sunrise. It's idyllic, isn't it?
Dude, that is stunning. Absolutely stunning.
It almost looks like an advert for Centre Parks.
Oh man, if Centre Parks was like that, they would rake it in. Not that they're not raking in, but flipping hell. I'm jealous of the ducks that live there.
Oh yeah.
They're amazing. So yeah. Yeah, it's just so beautiful and stunning and picturesque and yeah, man, I could dive into that water right now.
Would you do it in your full combat gear, or would you go for the shorts?
I would do it everything in between nuddy to full combat jumping equipment with leg bag and everything. I would do it any way whatsoever. 1,000,000 times over. It's just beautiful over there.
Yeah, it is. It's a marked contrast to everything we've seen up until now.
Well,
I mean, and again, if you think back to last time, it started in the bombed out ruins of the German town, didn't it?
Yeah.
And this time, we're here, idyllic Austrian countryside. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it is a stark contrast between what we've seen before, like you just said, but also without the talking heads. They are used to set up what you're about to see. They are the real people that were there, and you can see the grief and the pain and the struggle that they went through in their eyes. And this time you're left to your open imagination as to what you're going into. You don't know what to expect. And it's kind of like Easy Company, because they're kind of in limbo in this sort of situation, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
They really are, because it hasn't been declared that the war is over, but they're seeing less and less resistance as they're going on. And
oh yeah, it's the war is de facto over for them anyway.
Yeah, Hitler is gone, thank goodness. Mm-hmm. And so it's just a case of mopping up, cleaning out the old, bring in the new, and get the world back on track, I suppose.
Well, if it ever did get back on track. But that is a discussion for another day.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. So we got Winters and Nixon, and they have a nice little chat between each other. Nixon offers Winters a job because Winters seems to be in flux as to what he wants to do after the war. Or Sink wants him to do certain things. He wants to, if the war is going to carry on, he wants to get it over and done with, get his duty done. And Nixon is there saying, well, you got a job with me if you want. Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a strange dynamic there, because if you think about it, when we start off, Nixon is almost superior to Winters. With him going off to division as the intelligence officer and everything. Whereas now Winters is the senior officer. And they're still good friends. But when he says, I'll think about it, if it was anyone else saying that, you'd think they were just being polite, telling him to fuck off.
Yeah.
But with Winters, you could tell it's a genuine, no, I will think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can really see it, can't you?
They've come a long way. They say it's been 3 years since they joined the paratroopers. They've been at war for just over a year, because that's the other thing. It does feel like more time has passed than actually has done, because they only jumped into D-Day basically 13 months ago.
Right. Yeah.
Because this is July 45. They jumped June 44. So you think about it, you almost feel like the show's spanned 5 years, but it hasn't. It's only spanned about a year.
It does feel like that, yeah, because you got a lot of training at the very beginning, haven't you?
Uh-huh.
I'm just trying to find out when they did actually. Yeah, I think they left the Statue of Liberty 6th of September 1943.
Okay, yeah.
I've just gone back on my notes, and that's what Sobel writes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, it is a long time to be together. But yeah, it does feel like this battle has raged on and on and on and on. And really, it's been 18 months, I suppose. Maybe a little bit more than that.
Yeah. But July 45, the war is over in Europe at this point, because VE Day was May 45.
Right.
So basically, this episode exists as a flashback, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
The stuff at the lake is the latest part, and then everything else happens before that.
Yeah.
I think, trying to remember, when is VJ Day? When did Japan surrender?
To Google, quickly.
15th of August.
Oh,
so
you beat me to it.
I did beat you to it. So basically, there is So I tell a lie. This isn't the last bit of my story. The bit when they find out Japan has surrendered is a bit later. Mm-hmm. But there's 3 timelines going on here then.
Yeah, and then you have flashbacks within the... not within the flashback, but yeah, different flashbacks later on as well.
Yes, we do. We get some flashbacks to previous episodes.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about them because...
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I think we might be on the same page as that, but yeah, we'll find out when we get there. So what's their first mission? They got to get into a town.
Is it Birkenstad? Is that what it's called?
Berchen's Garden.
Yeah, it's effectively the spiritual home of the Nazi Party.
Yeah.
So this was, because again, little history lesson for people who don't know. Hitler was Austrian, not German, and Austria, at least that part, kind of was adopted as the spiritual home of the Nazi Party. So if you wanted to stay in this place, you had to be a high-ranking Nazi.
Yeah.
And so, they're definitely going there because they're worried about SS resistance. And I know there was instances of it, but it's really more just a case of mopping up, getting there. At this point, the war has almost become a game of finders keepers. And I definitely feel that with Spears more than anyone else, that it's now just a quest to who can get the most loot.
If it's not nailed down with him, then he's having it, isn't he?
Well, I'm pretty sure later on when he's chewing out the guy about the photo albums, it's not because of someone up the lines asking for them. He wanted them.
Of course. That is exactly what it is.
He's just like, yeah, and it's just like, yeah, look, I still love Spears. He's great, and he still would make a great Judge Dredd. Yeah. But it is in this. It's just like, he's a magpie. It's, shiny. It's like when he walks in there and you've got Winters and I can't remember the guy's name, the other lieutenant, or captain now, whatever.
Welsh.
Is it Welsh? But yeah, going through the silverware, and he reaches in and he gets his hand slapped away. You don't even think about it. It's like, yeah, they all know what he's like at this point. It's like, I think that's why Winters put the double guard on Goering's house with the alcohol as well. It's not to stop Germans or anyone else. It's to stop Spears getting in there.
Yeah, Spears has just got dump trucks following him around.
Do you remember MASH? Did you ever watch that when you were a kid?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, on and off, and it was a kind of program that was in the background all the time.
There was the character of Radar, who was basically mailing himself a Jeep home piece by piece.
Yes, yeah,
and it's almost like that. He's just mailing home the entirety of Nazi Germany home piece by piece.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, yeah, he's just a dirty little magpie, isn't he? But yeah, the photos are just. I suppose we get onto the photo book very, very soon.
Yeah, we'll get up there, but it's just it feels like I like the bit. There's on the road. There's the bloody landslide. I do question the wisdom of setting off explosives next to a sheer cliff, which has just been weakened from landslides. But I'm not an engineer. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then you got the Colonel Sink shows up and he says, the general says, I was the first into Berlin. I was the first into so-and-so. And like hell, I'm going to let some French prick beat me into Austria. Outflank that son of a bitch.
Yeah. I just love it. Yeah. Because, Spears has been asking to go up there as well, isn't he? And they're waiting for the engineers to clear the road. I loved the tactics that they're trying to use on that. They're using rocket launchers or rocket propelled grenades on this, and you're like, dude, you're not going to touch that with that rocket, no way. And then they're setting hand grenades up to shoot the hand grenades, and it's just so blasé. It's like, okay, so now your rocket launcher is going to shoot the hand grenades up into the air, maybe.
I think they were just killing time. I think they were just bored. It was the equivalent of throwing stones at cans, but they have ordnance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they got oodles amounts of it. They're finding it all over the place as well, and the Germans are handed in willy nilly. But I don't know. I like their tenacity of 5 hand grenades and a rocket launcher would just clear this easy, and then they're kind of surprised when the dust clears and nothing is gone.
No, I don't think they're surprised. It feels like you get some bored blokes, sitting around, think, I wonder what would happen if we shoot this rock with a bazooka. Okay, fine. I wonder what would happen if we shot hand grenades with it. Yeah, let's go try that. And then, the next thing was, has anyone got any C4?
Yeah.
It's that escalation, which usually results in someone getting hurt.
Yeah, someone will get hurt at some point, won't they? And then mum comes along and says, "Oh, I told you so. I told you so." So they somehow bypass this. It sounds like Spears took it on himself to climb somewhere and get past this. Well,
I think they had another route they could have gone, but they, at this stage of a war, they don't want any unnecessary risks. They don't want to, the SS have laid a trap. So they're just like, well, we're not going to do it unless we're ordered to do it. Once they're ordered to do it, fine, we'll go the other way around. And then they get into the town. And the weird thing when they got into the town was it felt almost, I thought one of two things here, right? I thought the textures for the Nazi flags hadn't loaded properly because it was all the white flags everywhere.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it's like, if it was a computer game and there was a missing texture, it would just put a white surface there. I thought, okay, the textures haven't loaded properly. Or they were expecting the French to arrive, hence the white flags.
Right.
Cheap shot, I know, but there you go.
Okay. Oh, wow.
I'm British. I'm allowed to mock the French. We love each other.
Of course you are.
It's fine.
I just thought there were surrender notices.
Oh, they were surrender notices. It was just, why go for the easy one?
Oh, of course, yeah. That's how our minds work, I suppose.
Yeah.
But it's such a beautiful village, town, I suppose.
It almost looks like it should be made out of gingerbread on a Christmas cake. That sort of a village. Like there should be snow everywhere. I quite like it when we get to the hotel though, and it's like the hotel was still expecting people to come down for dinner and all that. It's just like still got the Nazi flags everywhere.
Life is going on.
Life is going on until he realizes that American soldiers, and then he just kind of drops his knives and runs away. And then the concierge tries to grab the guest book, and Nick's like,
Yeah, there's some big names in there, aren't there? There's going to be some
more souvenirs.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. Once again, Spears will probably be swooping in, trying to poach that. But yeah, okay, let's go through that silverware. Because that's a huge box of silverware as well. And Welch, he's turned around and saying he wants to post it home, but I can't carry it all. He'll split it with Winters. And I'm thinking, it's in a big box. Why not just close it, snap it shut, say thank you very much, Bugsy mine?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
But yeah, I suppose he wants to share the love around a little bit. Then Winters, he orders a perimeter set up by F Company.
He orders guards put up there to stop anyone else with sticky fingers coming in.
Yeah. And Easy Company is, Spears is told that Easy Company is going to take the Eagle's Nest as he's pulling a massive Nazi flag down.
Yep.
It's
almost like he's distracted. He's like, you say something? Sorry.
Well, that's the thing. That it's like he's on autopilot for poaching stuff. It's like, I don't realise I'm doing it. I'm just nicking stuff now.
It does feel like the entire war for him up until this point was just to get here, to get the loot.
Yeah. Yeah. Flipping hell. So Easy Company is sent up to the Eagle's Nest.
I will say, though, this time around, it's a lot more sympathetic than it was last time out because, these are all clearly Nazis.
Yep.
Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts around it. And again, it just, the way it's framed and shot, it just feels a lot less sinister and off than it did last time out.
Isn't that an unknown rule about war, though? Because you're going into a place like that, you know it's going to be turned over anyway. So if you don't turn it over, the next person will turn it over. If they don't, the next person will. And it's going to be like that for a couple of years.
Yeah, probably, but it's still, it's the way that Easy Company had been framed up until the last episode. It was just a shock.
Mm.
Whereas in this one, it's more sympathetic, the way it's been done. So,
well, it's against Nazis, so you everything is forgiven, really, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
Up until a point, it doesn't really matter what you do, but, then let's not get into modern Nazis.
Let's not get overly political. We had enough of that last time out, I feel.
So, did you hear the Hi-Ho Silver as they're running up the hill?
I heard Hi-Ho Silver and Kui-hee!
Yeah, man.
Which was a nice little callback, which was a lot of fun. And yeah, it was just, running up the mountain, and then you see how far they've got to go, and then they say the gold-plated elevator. It's like, actually, let's just take the gold-plated elevator.
Oh, yeah. Spears walking down the road with 2 elevator doors. I'm having these. I'm posting these back. And in his house, like Radar, he's got an elevator made out of gold.
I wonder if he's like a part dragon. Like, you get back and he's just got a hoard of silver and everything. He just sleeps on that.
Yeah. He's cool to the touch. Keeps him cool at night. Oh, yes. Man. So, the Eagle's Nest, then. It's situated in Germany, isn't it?
No, it's Austria.
I thought it was on the edge. I thought it was right on the boundaries.
I'm pretty sure it is in Austria. You know what? To Google.
I'm Google Maps in this because I'm almost certain that it's in Germany, but it's on the border.
It says it's in Germany, so yeah, it must be right on the border.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. And it's now a restaurant.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah. So you can still climb up there.
In fact, I've just found a picture of it as a restaurant. That strikes me as strange.
Okay, yeah. I wanted to ask you about this because when I looked on it on Google Maps and did all the little normal stuff you can do with the Google, I was thinking, oh, do you know what? I'd like to visit that. And then, do I really want to visit that? But yeah, I do. But do I really want to? I don't know.
It's weird. I've got friends who have been to Germany, into Berlin, because they're very, very touchy about stuff. And this was, I think, in the 90s. And he told me they went on a tour and they used to take you to where the bunker was, but it all had to be done really discreetly. Mm-hmm. Like, they couldn't do an organized tour. So they'd have to, like, just stand around and they say, okay, if you look behind me over my shoulder where that car park is, that's where the bunker was. Don't all look at once. Take, that sort of a thing. Whereas I think now it's a bit more, they have organized tours.
Right.
It's weird. I'm like, I suppose if you put a restaurant there and if you can control what the narrative is there, you stop it becoming a pilgrimage site or anything like that.
Yeah, you commercialize it, don't you?
Yeah, you do a bit. It's just a lot of people will be going there because of it as the Eagle's Nest.
Well, if I visited it, I'd be going there because it's an historic building. But I suppose you take away the political aspect of it by commercializing it a little bit.
Yeah, I guess.
It doesn't become...
I'm with you. I think if I was to go there, I would probably go and visit it,
Yeah, I think you couldn't not.
Mm-hmm.
And it is just a hop, skip and jump from the Austrian border.
Yeah. Is it because did you watch The Man in the High Castle?
I've seen bits of it. I haven't watched it all yet.
Okay. It's a fantastic show. You should watch it. But there's an episode featuring this, and it's just the first picture on the Wikipedia. It looks like a frame from that, just with more people.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But anyway, interesting. Lovely view from the looks of things.
Oh, it's stunning from out there. And the room that they break into where they find the German soldier, if you look on Google, the fireplace is there. They're selling postcards near to where his body was found.
Mm. It was very obviously, a lot of that stuff was a location, like a those were probably the only scenes throughout all of the show where I could tell it was a studio blue screen setup.
On the balcony?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you reckon about inside the building? Because I think if they'd visited the building, then surely they should have used the balcony.
I think it felt like a studio. I mean, it's. I'm sure they were accurate to what they'd done, mm-hmm. but it just felt unreal. And I think a lot of that was down to the view out the window.
Yeah,
the light just didn't feel quite right.
Do you reckon it's a case of we could send all our camera crew and people over to Germany to film this, but it's probably cheaper in the long run to build a set.
No, I don't think they could, because I suspect they're probably not allowed to film with uniforms and things related to the war there.
Oh man, yeah. Yeah, they wouldn't be able to hang any banners, would they?
Well, they're not going to be able to hang any banners. It is its own business, and to do this sort of film, you're going to be closing it down for a while. And if you let one, you open the floodgate, and then that's all it would become. Every time they're doing a film about the war featuring that, that's where they would go.
Yeah.
So I suspect it wasn't feasible or possible to do that.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, but looking at the pictures, pretty accurate.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But again, I'm just flicking through it here, and you got the bit where Spears pulls the German officer over. Doesn't even look at the guy, just like, oh, Luger.
Yeah, it's another treasure, isn't it? It's like he's in a video game. He's just, there's the ammo. Pick up the ammo.
Yep.
Loot body.
Okay. Loot. Yeah, it's getting it gets an achievement for the more items he gets.
But once again, you can't blame him. And
no, not at all.
Amount of talk that we've heard of people wanting Lugers, and now they're everywhere. They're being offered to certain people as well.
Well, we even hear it from Winters. He traded a couple of Lugers for the pictures from a division photographer, and Nixon's like, oh, well, that was the best trade ever, because they're falling over Lugers at this point.
Yeah. I don't know how scarce they are nowadays, though.
Oh no, but they're relatively common. They're still making them, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. It's always surprised me. I think only a couple of years ago I learned how they actually load them, where you put your two fingers over the back.
Oh, you mean cocking the handle?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Totally different way of doing it, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we're on the balcony on the Eagle's Nest.
Yeah.
And we have Winters comes out. He's got a certain message for everyone, hasn't he?
Yeah. You got Nixon, Walsh, and Spears getting drunk on Hitler's personal champagne supply. And you got that nice moment where Walsh goes to Winters, have a drink. Go on, have a drink. Just so we can say we'd seen you do it. Because if you think back to the beginning when he was a Quaker, everyone thought he was a Quaker. Yeah. Because they never saw him drinking or anything. And it's just that's the only scene which, the blue screen is a little bit dodgy. It's just, you can tell they're not really on top of a mountain there.
No, you're right. It is kind of light, the lighting, and it doesn't, it looks like there's a breeze outside where the blue screen is, and yet where they are, there is no breeze. Because they're 8,000 feet up, they said.
Yeah.
That's a long way up.
It just isn't working there, is it?
No.
But yeah, you got, he comes up and he goes, I've got some news, got a telegram, you want to hear it? And it was from Supreme Allied Headquarters, and it says, all troops hold position and stand fast. The German army has surrendered. And they instantly all sober up. So like, what? Instantly. And then you got Spears and Walsh kind of have a hug, which is nice. But Nixon, Winters goes to Nixon, I got a present for you. And off they go for a little trip, a little drive. With Nixon with his aviators on, looking very suave as he's driven along.
He looks cool as fuck. He really does. Can I just say, when Winters slaps Walsh's face, that's just a beautiful moment. It's just, he's not gormless, but he's just in shock. And the slap it's like a father to a son. Well done.
Oh yeah.
I love you. You've done so well. And now that you deserve this. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh man, that's good.
Yeah. But yeah, they go on a trip to Hermann Goering's house.
Now, who is this Hermann Goering?
Hermann Goering? Why, he was the head of the Luftwaffe.
Yeah, didn't he? I read a little while ago that he, when Hitler said he was going to be committing suicide, he wanted everything signed over to him.
Okay, a little bit of a history lesson on Hermann Goering. In fact, you remember Battle of Britain when you watched that?
Yeah.
So Goering is the big fat German guy in the blue uniform.
Oh, okay, and he did wear over the top uniforms as well, didn't he?
Well, so Goering was a World War I ace, fighter pilot ace, and who Hitler made as the head of the Luftwaffe. But he was a fucking peacock. He liked big fancy uniforms, had a very inflated sense of his own importance, kept promising the Luftwaffe could destroy the RAF, could destroy the Royal Navy. he's basically why the Battle of Britain went shit up. And I'm not saying it's entirely down to Goering, but he made a lot of promises. For him, it was he denied the German Navy the chance of having its own aircraft carriers and naval aviation because he wanted the power of the Air Force solely for him. Mm-hmm. He was a political animal, so it was all about his own power. And he was lined up to be Hitler's successor. But before Hitler committed suicide, Goering he sent a message saying to Hitler, we understand you're surrounded, you can't get out. So I am going to take command of the German forces unless you send me a message saying that's not the case. And then I am going to negotiate a surrender deal, which is for the best thing for Germany. And Hitler lost his shit at that and kicked him out of a party, declared him an enemy, tried to have him it was literally the day he shot himself. But,
he had him arrested, didn't he?
He tried to have him arrested.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it actually happened. But yeah, basically Goering was trying to save his own skin as much as possible. And then in the Nuremberg trials, he tried to justify himself and present himself as, the reluctant Nazi and all this. He was a horrible man, horrible man. Have you seen Downfall?
Yes, love that film.
It does go into that a little bit in there. But anyway, yeah, so Goering was a sycophant, basically, in the truest sense of the word. All about status and for his own personal... You know what? Goering was fucking Trump. And I say that. I went there because it was all about him.
Yeah.
If Twitter had been around in 1940s, Goering wouldn't have been able to stay off of it. He cared immensely about what people said about him, was utterly incompetent at his job, didn't listen to people below him, but, still took credit for everything that was right and all that sort of bollocks. Yeah. But basically, if you want to know who Hermann Goering was, think Trump.
Wow.
There you go. That is Goering. So they've turned up at Goering's house, and he has a magnificent wine cellar, which, again, to keep spears out, Winters has had double guarded.
He put O'Keefe on the door, though.
I quite like with O'Keefe. He goes, "Are you going to get out?" And he goes, "Oh, but there's just so much to see and to do." It's like, yeah, you want to get out there looting, don't you, mate?
He's so naive, isn't he?
Yeah.
So yeah, they open up the liquor for Nixon.
Yeah, which I gotta say, that seems somewhat irresponsible.
It kind of is, isn't it? I suppose he's only trying to do right by his mate.
You literally are giving an alcoholic the keys to the wine cellar.
Yeah. And he says, fill your boots, take whatever you want, and then get other people to take a truckload each.
Yeah.
But
and given what literally is the next scene is, we have too much time and alcohol. I know he's doing it with the best of intentions, but I have to say, something of a misstep from Winters here.
I think it's a friend to a friend giving a friend a gift that he would truly appreciate. I don't think he's giving it to him because it's going to kill him.
Oh, of course not. But still, it just seems like. I mean, when Nixon sees it, the way he takes the glasses off, he almost falls to his knees. No words. Should have sent a poet. It's like the most beautiful thing he's ever seen.
Yeah, and VE Day is announced there, and O'Keefe is wondering what VE Day is, and so Nixon turns around and says, "Victory in Europe," and then he hightails it down to the cellar. Even though I think the whole house is pretty much a cellar.
Pretty much, it is a damn impressive wine cellar. It actually, I think this is a real wine cellar because it looks more real than the Eagle's Nest set.
Yes, yeah.
So I suspect this was a real wine cellar somewhere, and they just stuck a load of Nazi eagles to dress it.
I've seen one or two wine cellars. I've never seen anything like that before.
No.
That was the way that it was laid out.
Wine cellar is to do it a disservice, really, isn't it? It's a wine cathedral.
Yeah, I suppose it is, yeah, because you've got that beautiful bar in the middle as well.
Yeah.
And so you can host down there. You can do wine tasting and never scratch the surface of that place.
I bet there's some VAT 69 in there.
Oh, guarantee it, yeah. You imagine him just going through it. No, it's not that, not that, not that. And they're just smashing behind him on the floor. So that's right. We got 1 million more bottles. It's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, so they got that, and he has his alcohol. It's VE Day, huzzah!
Yeah,
and then it's off to back into Austria now, isn't it?
Yeah, off to Austria. He said that nobody wanted to leave that place until they saw Austria, and wow.
Yeah, it's like if you thought this was good, ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah, that place is stunning. I know we've already said that, but flipping hell, man.
I think it's important as well at this point to make a distinction is the war is over now, at least the war in Europe, because you got them driving down and you got the German soldiers coming the other way, but you don't have any of the leering or the shouting like he had in the last episode, or the, taunting. They're clearly a defeated army, but you don't have the same sort of attitude.
I suppose, they've done that though, haven't they? They can't constantly do that for the next 3 months. Just taunting every German they see walking down the road in the opposite direction without any weapons.
You could do, perhaps, but I think it's more so that now the war is over, at least some of them are no longer thinking of them as the enemy. They're now thinking of them as other soldiers, because you do have, I'm skipping ahead just a little bit, but you've got Tom Hardy, Bane, and the German officer.
Yeah.
Just having small talk, just comparing stories, which I quite like.
I love it, yeah, because that's the old and the new, isn't it? That German officer or German soldier turns around and says that that's his second war. So he's clearly, has he gone through the First World War as well?
Yep. Wow. Gone through the First World War now, but it's not. Again, it's just like comparing where they've been. Yeah, you go. I've been to France. I've been, to Amsterdam. I've been to Russia. This was the best. This wasn't the best, and offering him a cigarette. I mean, could he have imagined a couple of months ago sharing a cigarette with a German soldier?
No, not a chance.
Yeah,
but then again, last episode, didn't they mention? Someone mentioned about the Germans on the opposite side. They could have been their friends at some other point, and this is what's happening with the weight of war removed from it.
Oh yeah,
they're all just humans.
Well, they're soldiers. I mean, and we talked about this a bit last time out, where they have a shared experiences. They've both been through the same thing. Okay, they were shooting at each other, but they were both in the cold, in Bastogne, hating it.
Yeah.
With arseholes shooting at them.
That's right, yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, they're into Austria and set up in another lovely location, looking out over a lake. It's like a package holiday tour at this point.
That building is amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know what building that is. I couldn't reference that or find it or anything like that, but it's just stunning. And the way you just got jeeps rolling up to that as well. So cool. Absolutely so cool. But then Winters is talking with German officers.
He is receiving the surrender from a German colonel.
Yeah.
And I really quite like this scene. He knows he's defeated, but the German officer's still standing there with pride. Winters is just, he's got his lieutenants, Nixon there behind him. And the German officer hands over his sidearm as for his surrender. And Nixon says, no, you may keep your sidearm, because in some militaries, and certainly in the German military at the time, it was your honor was in your weapon, your sword. In the Napoleonic era, when a captain surrendered his ship, he would surrender his sword. For the German officer, it is surrender his sidearm. It is surrendering your honor, effectively. And I just like that Winters is like, no, you can keep your sidearm.
I love the eye contact in this.
Yeah. And it's the way he goes, better to give it to you than the desk of a clerk.
Yeah.
And there's genuine respect there, which I liked. And the thing is, think back to previous officers like Dyke or Sobel. I mean, Sobel would rub his nose in it so hard.
Mm.
You know, he'd probably sit there and make the little L shape on his forehead, going, loser, 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 you know.
Yeah, he'd pinch it as if like he was picking up a turd, wouldn't he, I feel?
Yeah.
And then drop it in a bag of other Lugers.
He'd probably give it to Spears. There you go, another one for your collection, or something like that. But no, there is respect there. It is, you know, you're a defeated army, but the war is over now.
I wanted to ask you about this as well, because the respect you get from Winters about that, and then the look on the German's face as if, okay, he respects me, that's good, and I get to keep my sidearm, so that's good. We're all winners. I salute him. We have mutual respect. Flip them tables. Would you, now maybe I'm just going down on the Nazi thing because they're all bad, but do you think that respect would have been returned?
Okay, so the first thing we have to distinguish is not all Germans were Nazis, and not all soldiers in the army were Nazis either.
Yeah.
Those were Wehrmacht soldiers, not SS soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it. So I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I'm going to segue very slightly into an actual event. There's a book called The Last Battle, which I don't know if you've seen it or not. I've read it or not. I'll send a copy to you if you like.
Okay.
But at the end of the war, effectively after Hitler committed suicide, there was an incident where the SS were going to go and kill a load of French VIPs in a prison, and they were doing the whole scorched earth, killing everyone thing. Mm-hmm. So Wehrmacht officers fought with American tankers to protect this village. This actually happened, but you had the Germans fighting with Americans against the SS, the real fanatics.
Really?
Yeah, really. It's a really interesting story. I will find out the link. In fact, you can put a little link in the bottom of the doobly-doo for this, so other people can read about this event. But it's actually happened. I'm amazed there's not been a film or something about it, because it just seems like a no-brainer there. But yeah, the German officer was born in Austria, and he had joined the military because he was fighting for his country.
Yeah.
Not because he had an ideological thing, you know. He was a professional soldier. So I do think, from what I can see from this officer, and also from the general later on, they would have offered the same respect there. It's the SS who were the fanatics, who were the... And don't get me wrong, this guy was probably an arsehole. He bought into the military superiority of the Germans.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was because of that sort of thing. And I'm treading very carefully, because I don't want to get into this whole kind of sense of praising the Nazis as being this great thing. You know, there's too much of that. It is wrong. He lost. He was on the wrong side of history. But I think what it is in this instance, is the way this officer is being portrayed, he was sympathetic. The truth of the fact is, though, the real Winters kept that pistol. Because I was reading this on the IMDb trivia, and he kept the pistol, and he noticed it had never been fired in all 6 years of war, and he still owned it. And there's a HBO documentary called We Stand Alone Together, and he shows it to them, and it's never been fired. So yeah, a pistol went through being much like Winter's weapon after where was
Holland,
it?
Wasn't it?
After Holland, yeah. This gun had never been fired. Yeah. So there you go.
Okay, well, that's good to remind myself and everyone else that not all these people were Nazis as well, and that they weren't. It's like last episode where they're going through Germany and go, well, yeah, I've been around here and I haven't seen a single bloody Nazi. You know.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah, they are hiding in plain sight, but there are instances where they weren't all Nazis.
Yeah, I mean, like they said, in that town they were in, it was the only town where you couldn't claim to not be a Nazi, because you had to be a Nazi to be there.
Yeah.
But yeah, outside of that, and look, again, lots of Nazis would later on claim they weren't Nazis, because that's what you do when you realise you're on the wrong side of history. But still.
And then you get Brad Pitt carving a swastika on your forehead.
Exactly, yes. Yes, coming next, Inglourious Basterds.
Flipping love that movie.
It is a damn good movie. But yes, as an aside, I certainly not all Germans were Nazis. And not all Nazis were Germans. Some were Austrian.
Mm-hmm.
There were British Nazis in the war. Did you know that?
It doesn't surprise me.
There was a few soldiers. I don't know what the term is, defected or whatever, or were recruited. But there was a SS division. They never actually saw active combat, but they were a British SS unit.
Shit a brick.
A little bit.
Flipping hell. Why am I thinking of Dad's Army when I'm thinking of that? I'm not saying that Dad's Army were the SS at all, but okay. Right, let's move on. Let's move on from Nazis, even though it's really hard to in a program.
A podcast about World War II, it's going to be a little bit hard to avoid them.
Kind of is, yeah. So the next scene that we have, because he's handed over his sidearm, we have a load of people in a room watching the battle in the Pacific going on. Because that is still raging on. That's still raging on. And it looks like some, not all of them, but some of them who haven't earned the expected point tally, which is 85. I, once again, don't know how they work out the points. But they're going to be starting training and going over there. And they're expected to go over there. So they're going to have to be kept sharp. So they have to go out on exercise, they have to do training, and that's where Winters has the hard decision. You know, you have to keep these guys in tip-top condition and ready to fight again.
Well, boredom is the biggest enemy at this point for the company because it makes their fighting skills duller. But when they get bored, they get restless, they start doing stupid things.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think Winters later says, you know, there's a lot of recruits, a lot of people there without enough points, and they've got ammunition, they've got plenty of time on their hands, there's plenty of liquor going around, so, you know, accidents will happen.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately so, yeah.
Yeah. We do see a couple of the guys out on exercise. I suppose they were out on exercise, or maybe just hunting. I'm not too sure.
I think it was mostly just hunting for food.
Yeah.
Because again, although my first thought was they were training for jungle warfare, because when you first see them all crouched down there in the forest, you think, oh, okay, so they're doing some practice drills for jungle stuff. But then no, they're looking for food, and I like how, you know, each of their personalities is reflected in their stance. You got Shifty just kind of resting his rifle on his arms, casual like. You know, you got Bull kind of just walking through, and you got is it Picante? Kind of crouched down with the, you know, he's ready to strike any minute.
That's right, yeah. He's like a coiled spring, isn't he?
Yeah. And there's some nice little banter there, and we find out that, you know, Shifty doesn't have enough points to go home, and the reason he doesn't have enough points is he was never wounded. Yeah,
because, was it the first or second episode where we see, I think, Popeye get a couple of Purple Hearts? Someone else gets a Purple Heart, and then someone else gives a Purple Heart away, and...
But yeah, you get points for a Purple Heart, or for being wounded.
Yeah.
And because he doesn't have enough points, he can't go. And yeah, Shifty's a Normandy veteran, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, he jumped.
So there's a nice scene afterwards then where they're all formed up, and the company's decided to send him home.
This is, if you're not a real man's man, then you are going to have a little tear in your eye about this, because this is brilliant. This is how it should be done. So what they have is they have a lottery because of the points, and Sync has decided to send one man home from each company.
Yes. General Taylor, that was it.
Was it Taylor? Okay, fine.
Yeah.
And so they're holding a lottery with they're all going to put their names in the hats and then pull out the name, and that person will be sent home with no questions asked. Good luck to everyone. And they come along with the hats, and there's only one name in it. And I love the fact that I can't remember his name, but Tom Hardy's character, he sat there going, come on.
Yeah.
He clearly doesn't know how this works.
It's clearly the officers have decided to do this.
Yeah.
Probably NCOs as well, but I just like how it's when his name's right out, he can't believe it. So, what?
Yeah, so Shifty Powers is on his way home.
Yeah.
Safe
but
and sound.
Everyone's happy as well. They're all like, even the ones not in on it are like, well done.
Yeah. I say safe and sound. I just remembered exactly what happens to him, though, because Winters does narrate that on his way home, after meeting him, he was involved in a car crash.
Yeah.
With a drunk driver.
Yeah, he in a car crash, ended up in hospital for many months on the way home. But, spoiler alert, he did survive because he is featured in the Talking Heads at the end.
Yes, he is, yeah. I love his accent. I really do. It's just so soft and, oh man, love them all. I really do. So they have to keep training.
Before that, there's another announcement made at the time, though, and that is that they will definitely be redeploying to Japan or to the Pacific. So you've got the elation of, yes, he gets to go home, but then it's like, tomorrow we're training to go to war.
Yeah.
So it's like, again, we're back on it. And you can kind of see it in their faces. Everyone's taking a deep sigh, and it's just like...
Some knew this was coming, and others thought once the war was over, once Hitler was dead, then surely that was it. We can all go home. No, there's a lot of tidy up to do.
Yeah.
Someone has messed up the playground, left all the toys out. You guys have got to clean up. So, yeah. So everyone has the thought of, yeah, okay, they're going to be jumping again very soon. So they do have to go back into training. Looks like they're going to be getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning for training. We have Shifty saying his thanks and goodbyes to Winters.
It's quite a touching little moment, that as well. He's quite emotional because, again, he kind of realizes that this chapter of my life is now over.
Yeah.
I think they all realize this was a huge moment in the history of mankind that they've been a part of, and it is coming to an end. So, yes, absolutely happy to go home, but at the same time, there's that sadness, I suppose, that it's come to an end.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's sadness that it's come to an end. I think I suppose it is a little bit because you're leaving your mates. And it is
that's what I mean. It's that family, that you're leaving your family.
Yeah.
If you will, your brothers.
Oh God, yes, yeah.
The band thereof, if you will.
Yeah, so he leaves. It's just the way that he turns around and says to Winters about, I don't know how to explain this when I get home. And not that I've ever been there, but I understand where he's coming from. How do you explain that? Not that my granddad was ever in battle or anything like that. He was ground crew in the RAF, but he knew some people that died in there, some friends that died in there as well. And I remember asking him about the war, and he never spoke about it. Not that he saw the battle or anything like that, but it was a case of the only thing that he really said to me was, no, it was 6 years wasted of my life. And that was it. And that's all he'd say. And my other granddad, he was on a submarine, so never really got around to talking to him about that. So yeah, I missed out on them chats.
Yeah.
Anyway,
well,
let's bring it up a little bit.
Moving on, we've got Walsh deciding he's heading home. I've had enough of this. I'm going back to Kitty.
Good man.
Don't blame him. And we also find out that Winters has put in for a transfer to the 13th Airborne, is it?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah. because he's decided, well, if I'm going to go, I want to go and get it over and done with. And Nixon's like, well, I can't let him go alone. He doesn't know where it is.
Yeah.
I like that he's willing to stay with his friend, though, because I'm pretty sure Nixon would much rather just go straight home right now. Actually, maybe not, though, because after the last time when he lost his wife, he lost his house, he lost the dog, maybe he feels like anything to just not have to deal with that. But
well, in the beginning, he's talking about, he's going to have to go home and just prove himself and make sure that he's not worth this bit of scum, really. And so I suppose he feels at home in the military performing his duty, and for the next year or so, he'd feel more comfortable doing that.
Mm-hmm.
He knows where he stands with it.
It's true.
All these guys, they know where they stand at the moment. When they all go back home and reinstitute into normal life, they got to find themselves all over again.
Yeah.
So Nixon, Winters has asked for a transfer, hasn't he?
Winters has. I don't think Nixon has yet.
Right.
I don't know. It's not mentioned, but Winters then has to go and have an interview with, I think, General Taylor.
Oh, okay. So this is General Taylor, is it?
I don't know. It is a general. Hang on, I'll tell you what. It is General Chapman.
Right.
2-star general. And he's effectively reviewing Winters's resume, his record.
Yeah.
And we get a little kind of recounting of the series thus far, and you get these great little flashbacks.
Okay, the flashbacks. Do you feel that they were necessary?
Yes.
Having these... Well, it's just cut and paste, really, isn't it?
You mean scenes?
Yeah.
I think they were necessary, and I think they were necessary for a couple of reasons. One, ordinarily, it would have been 10 weeks since this series started.
Yes.
And for us, it's been
10 months.
It feels like 10 months.
Oh, it's definitely over that. Yeah. January, we started this?
Did we start it in January?
Yeah.
I don't know. We started it a while ago. We've been lax. Sorry, people. But it's finished now, so it's fine. But it's been a while. So I was taken aback when you see those flashbacks, how different it's how it's shot. It's cooler, bleached colours, a shaky camera when he's running through the trench, the way the sound kind of disappears off while he's remembering it. And it's just like, I think it helps to underline and to underscore and to accentuate what he's gone through, what's going on internally in Winters' mind, because the general's just reading stuff off of a piece of paper.
Yeah.
But he's reliving it to an extent, when, he's talking about how he mentioned the whole, you didn't fire your weapon after Bastogne, it's a sign of a true leader to go through, on the line for all that and not do it. Or when he's talking about when he's in Austria, the last time he fired his weapon effectively.
Yeah. And
the image he uses to emphasize that point is when he shot that German soldier on the ridge.
Yeah.
And again, you can see that that's something that stayed with him. And look at the moments which have stayed with him. It's running through the trenches to the 88 and seeing that kid who wanted to come with him.
That's right, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to try and... Shall I find his name while we're doing this?
If you like to. But, again, the guy who he'd met when he first parachuted in wanted to stay with him and then, died. And it basically shows his evolution from, the lieutenant in the first episode to the leader, the major he is today. And I absolutely think those flashbacks were necessary.
Yeah.
Especially given how in the rest of the episode there's such a lack of finger quote action. It helps to just show what they've been through to get to this point.
I think that was my problem with it. It's because there isn't much of action to speak of in this episode, and so they feel like they need to throw some in. Instead of having war and action going on, because this is a World War II program, then instead of having Nixon walking up a flight of stairs in a hotel going, yeah, do you know what? I think we could stay here. I feel the producers are like itching at the fingers a little bit, going, yeah, but there needs to be a bit of war going on.
See, I don't feel that at all. I really don't. I think just looking at his face when he's reading this off, what you're just seeing is you're getting a glimpse into what is going through his mind, because I think he's trying to get across the sense that although Winters is, this leader, well adjusted, he seems okay. Internally, there's still a conflict going on there.
Yeah.
And you get that. I'm just flicking through it while we're talking here, sort of thing. And you see there's a nervous smile when he mentions about some stuff, and and he disappears off into his memory, and the general says, "Major Winters," and he goes, "Sorry," because he was lost. I think you need those little flashbacks. Otherwise, he's just sitting in a chair, dazing off into a middle distance, and that's boring. No one wants to see that. You need to see what's going on in his head.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I get it. I understand both sides of things, but I don't know. It's too cliche for me. A bit too cliche for me.
It might be cliche, but it's really well done, so I'm okay with it.
Okay, so I'm glad we got that out of the way a little bit.
Yeah.
So in all the words that he has to sum up with it, he's denied the
transfer.
He's denied the transfer, isn't he?
Well, I think the general is in effect doing what Winters is doing, and trying to get as many people home as he can, or whatever. He basically says, "I think your men have earned the right to keep you around." Winters has a reputation. The general says, "I took this meeting out of respect for your achievements and your reputation." They know about him.
Yeah.
I think they know how close he is to Easy Company and to the 506. And I think he's effectively doing him a favour more than anything else.
Right. Okay, cool. That's good.
Yeah. I think he felt that Winters was probably volunteering out of a sense of obligation, out of duty, out of having to do it. Probably also a bit of fear over, again, what is he going to do if he's not fighting a war? He probably was like, I'm a soldier. I know how to be a soldier. I don't know how to be an occupying force.
That's right, because he did offer him a job back at battalion, didn't he?
Yeah.
We could put you as a 2-star major behind a desk if you really want. And he's like, no, that's not me.
No.
So he had that opportunity. When he failed to do that, he said, no, you stay with your men. Right, okay. I didn't see it like that the first time round.
How do you see it?
I just saw it as, how did I see it? I don't know. I just saw it as, no, you stay with your guys. I didn't see it as him trying to stop him from losing him at all. Or, you guys have done far too much already. Stay here. I didn't see it as that.
Yeah. I think the general is painted as a very sympathetic kind of a friendly general, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Nice guy, and he's just looking out for his men as well. So,
yeah.
I think absolutely the general would love someone like Winters out there, absolutely. But he also probably knows the war is coming to an end. We're in the last. We're coming towards the end of this sort of thing. Let's just see if we can tread water a little bit and just see where the chips fall.
Do you reckon he'll be getting information about the Pacific?
Yeah, but they wouldn't know about the atomic bombs at this point, and so they probably know how brutal and horrible it is out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I mean, again, because the war ended when it did, I don't think the army really got deployed so much. It was mostly on the Marines.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think, I don't know how much he would have been fed about what was going on with the Marines in that sort of respect, but I definitely think he was like, this is not the sort of fighting we're good at. We're good at when you get to Japan, and even then, that's just going to be brutal. So
yeah, okay, cool. So we move on to quite a dark episode in this,
and a dark episode in the episode.
In the episode, yeah, where we have Libgott Webster and I forget the other guy's name. They're Nazi hunting. They
are Nazi hunting, yes. They have been told to go and hunt a commandant?
Yeah, he was one of the commandants of a camp or a couple of camps. They're not too sure. They haven't got any information. It's all hearsay. They haven't got anything written down. They haven't got any photographs of the guy that was running the camps.
Lynch, Moon, and Sisk.
Who, that went over there?
Along with, it says Spears assigned, Libgott, along with Lynch, Moon, and Sisk.
I think that's in real life, yeah.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, because Webster didn't take any part in this whatsoever in real life.
Okay.
So, so they're going Nazi hunting, which is, I suppose, when you haven't got anything to do, that's a pastime, isn't it?
Mm.
In the beautiful hills of Austria. And they find this shack. They told where to go. They said that there's a commandant in here that has been in charge of a camp or two. They just storm in. They suss it out. They storm in. And Libgott is just having a go at him, really, really in his face, just interrogating him. And he's just not giving him any chance whatsoever. He's already got it in his mind that this guy's guilty and we're going to deal with him.
Oh, yeah. This is personal for him. This is revenge for the Jews. This is revenge for the camp we saw the last time out.
Yeah.
He is out for blood. He's looking for someone to hurt, someone to say this is someone who was directly responsible for it. So... Yeah, he is. He's out for blood, like you said, and
he gets it as well, doesn't he?
He does get it. It is not their finest moment, but I don't. Okay, blame is not the right word I'm looking for here. I sympathise with what he's done.
Yes.
This
is tough, isn't it? Because we have already turned around and said the war is over.
Mm-hmm.
The war is over here, and everyone's acting as if the war is over. And so for these men to go out of their own accord and just hunt people down, which aren't running.
It's military. It's military justice in that sense of it's a death squad.
Yeah.
It's I don't know if it's mentioned in the episode, but in reality, he was ordered by Spears to go and do this, so he was following an order.
Mm.
But still, it is something that should have been dealt with through the correct channels and procedures and, the burden of evidence and all that. It just wasn't to happen. But, yeah, it's Webster's definitely playing the role of the audience here, I think, by saying, I don't want to see this. I don't want to be a part of this.
Yeah, yeah, totally agree with you on that. And, well, the other guy doesn't really want to... He feels obliged to join Webster outside as well, doesn't he?
Uh-huh.
And just leave Libgott to whatever he wants to do. And we know, as an audience, we get why he's doing it, but we also get it is wrong.
Mm-hmm. And I think he knows he's wrong as well, because, when they're on the Jeep on the way back, he kept saying, he ran. Officers don't run. Or something like that. And then Webster goes, war's over, anyone will run.
Yeah. Yeah, he's trying to justify it, isn't he?
Yeah.
I tell you what, that's an awkward drive home, isn't it?
It is a bit.
You stop off for some Mars bars, fill up the Jeep. It's all a bit quiet in that van. Jesus. So Libgott does shoot the guy, but he only wounds him, and so he is running up the hill, and the other chap shoots him in the back.
Yeah, Sisk.
In the back.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a dark humanity of the American forces there, but under orders, okay, fine. You carry out the orders.
Under orders, only human. He's seen some horrible stuff.
Yeah.
And yes, the war is technically over, but for these guys, does it ever really end? I suppose it's not a justification. It's just understanding where they were coming from.
I suppose it's...
And I'm glad they included it in the show and not pretend it didn't happen either.
Yeah, yeah. For us, though, it's trying to wrap our head around it as well, isn't it? And how they would feel about it. So I think in that situation, if you'd seen what they'd see, you wouldn't have a hesitation and wouldn't even turn around and say, no, this is bad. It's just, well, that's the way it was. Tough. So it's all from a certain point of view type characteristics in this. I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
So we move on to a scene we've already spoken about the Germans on post.
Yes, we've got Tom Hardy, Bane.
Yep. 75 points he's got.
75 points, and we have the German officer, German soldier, manning the crossing. There's a nice little banter there, which is just kind of entertaining.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Webster rolls up. He's got 81 points.
Mm-hmm. So that's just not good enough.
Yeah, neither of them are going home anyway, are they?
Yeah.
I love the way Webster empties out the other car and just lets because there's a German soldier hobbling along on crutches trying to get somewhere. And he's like, yeah, do you want to go Munich? Yeah, okay, yeah, why not? And empties out the back of their car. So, yeah, you guys are taking him. Tough.
Yeah.
No arguments about it. Once again, another car drive that is blistered.
A little bit awkward, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So I suppose this is my worst point of the episode.
How do you mean worst point?
It doesn't feel constructed very well, even though that sentence was not constructed very well as well.
You want to talk about cliches? This is probably the cliche sort of. It was a bit Wile E. Coyote almost, wasn't it?
It is, but okay. Tom Hardy jumps in a Jeep, drives down the road, and then there's another scene, and he kind of disappears around a dog leg, and yet Webster can still see that happening and just ends up sprinting. It's just there's too much time for him to disappear down the road and not hear it, and it doesn't quite work. It hasn't been thought out as much.
Yeah.
The Jeep should have been held up a little bit. There should have been something else to justify Webster seeing what has just happened. In real life, maybe he did see this. Maybe
I don't think he saw it so much as heard it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I basically what's happened here is they've cut out the bit where he runs around the corner to get to that bit.
Mm.
That is what's missing there. So it seems like the geography has changed, and I don't think the sound effect is prominent enough for him to hit. I mean, but it is one he would have heard rather than seen because his back's to it, and when he turns around, the truck just driving off, not stopping, just seems a bit. You maybe want to flag him down and say, "Hey, give me a hand with this fucking crash you've caused."
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and that barrel that fell off as well. It didn't seem as heavy as what it should have been for them to actually swerve.
Yeah, it like you said, it's just a little bit out of place.
The sound effect as well. It's very stock. The Jeep has almost got a Wilhelm screen to it.
It almost does. And thus comes the end of Tom Hardy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, which is all masking a very sad situation there because Winters does turn around and narrate that there's people still getting killed.
Yeah. The war's over, but people are still dying. And again, it says he's got 75 points, so he was 10 points short. So,
yeah, in reality, he wasn't going home anytime soon, was he?
No.
But he didn't know that. So, which leads into another dark episode in this episode.
This is probably the darkest bit, to be honest.
Oh, man. This is where it gets grim. Because
it does.
This guy, I haven't got the guy's name in front of me. I might not even mention his name, but yeah.
Well, he's a replacement from I Company.
He fucks
and
up
I like
big
how
time.
Replacement is almost a slur.
Yeah. Well, they've missed everything, haven't they?
Mm-hmm.
And
in fact, he's only credited as a drunk GI. So
okay, so this might even just be a bit of plagiarism. This might just be a way to expand the episode a wee bit.
No, this happened.
Oh, this happened.
Yep, this actually happened.
Oh, flipping hell. Okay, right, let's get into this then. So,
okay,
we have a Jeep driving along. Got 3 guys in it. I forget who was in it, though.
You've got Staff Sergeant Grant.
Yep.
And you've got, I can't, this is the problem. It's dark, so I can't really see who the other two guys are.
Yeah.
But you got basically they're telling the stories. Grant's telling stories about D-Day and Garnier and everything like this, which is kind of nice, hearing stories about things we've seen.
Yeah.
I think the guys are replacements. I'm just looking at it now, and yeah.
Yeah. Well, I like the way that the stories have gone into folklore even before the end of the war as well.
Yeah.
Before it's completely over. And you have heroes walking around and these replacements looking up to them and just in awe of these guys. And so stories build up and build up. Funny enough, there hasn't been a lot of talk about Spears and what he did to the company of German soldiers either.
Yeah.
That's kind of died well, it's been quashed a little bit, hasn't it?
Well, I suppose partly because now he is their company commander, they've got a better sense of who he was, whereas before he was outside of the company.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So these guys are driving along in a Jeep. They come across what it looks like on first glance as a car crash or a RTA.
Yeah, you got like 3 Jeeps parked up with lights on and a drunk guy walking around waving a gun. And you got Grant gets out and he goes, "What's the problem here?" And he goes, "Well, this German wouldn't give me any gas, so I shot him. And this fucking limey wouldn't help, so I shot him. I think he was a major."
Jesus.
So that's a big no-no. And then Grant's like, "Why don't you give me your gun?" Because he was. I mean, this guy can barely stand up straight. And then he's like, "Well, I'm just going to take the British guy's Jeep." And then he shoots Grant in the head.
Yeah.
And holy fuck. I mean, some great casting, because whoever we got playing this drunk guy, I wanted to smash his face in just from the look of him. There's just something about him. He just oozes. He's a horrible individual.
Yes, he plays it really well, especially when he turns around to Grant and goes, "Have you got any gas?"
Yeah.
Like, as if I'm going to give you any.
Yeah. So they get him back to the company commander, the doctor, not Doc Crow. I think it's the company surgeon, a higher up doctor, if you will. And he takes one look at him and just goes, "Well, he's fucked."
Yeah.
And he goes, "You what?" He goes, "Well, there's nothing I can do,
You need a brain surgeon for this guy.
Yeah. And I just like how Spears is like, "You need a brain surgeon? Okay, I will go and find a fucking brain surgeon."
I stole one of them a little while ago. I've got one in a bag somewhere.
Yeah. And I mean, you really get a sense that Spears, this is the first time I really feel that Spears properly loves the men. I mean, he's always respected them. He's always been there for them. But this is the first time I've seen him lose it over the men almost.
He's been quite cold with them, hasn't he?
A little bit. I'd say more professional, but I think he's always tried to maintain that air of mystery, that detached kind of RoboCop sort of thing.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And I just like how he goes, "Find that shooter. I want him alive." And then they just go and pile him onto a Jeep, and then they drive into the nearest town looking for a German brain surgeon. And then meanwhile, all of Easy Company's like, "We're off to go and find the son of a bitch who did this." And everyone's been woken up, and you can see them all going. And you got Spears there, knocking on the door of the doctor, with a pistol, like, "Come with me, come with me." And the doctor's like, "Look, either shoot me or let me do my job." And Spears just seems a bit lost, but I love that. It's like he's acting on instinct.
Yeah, he's slightly out of control, isn't he?
Little, again, he's like, "I'm not losing one of my men to friendly fire after the end of a war."
Yeah.
And they get him to the doctor, and then you've got they've obviously found the individual, and is it Piconte and who's playing cards outside?
You got Luz and Piconte, I think it is. No, Luz and someone else. Piconte's inside because he's one of the guys that steps back.
But they're in there, And then Spears just arrives because they're feeling a bit uncomfortable. One's going, "We should probably stop this." The other's like, "Just play cards."
He's getting battered in there while I'm getting battered out here.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, you mentioned about Spears and the incident at D-Day. He shows up, and yeah, everyone just like steps back, and it's just like, Dread's here.
Yeah, the sea parts, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You imagine being that brain surgeon when you got Dredd looking down at you, pointing a gun, knocking on the door, saying, "Get out! Come on, you're coming with me." Maybe he should have explained it a little bit better. That we got an injured guy here. You need to help him now. But
yeah. I don't think I think Spears. I don't think he could have formed words. Basically,
fair play. Yeah.
And it's just, when he walks in there and they've got him there, and they don't even say who his name is. He's a replacement eye company, which seems like two insults. It's like, firstly, it's a replacement, and an eye company, and for some reason it just feels like that's a shit company, just because it's so much further down than E and A and everything.
Exactly.
We've not really had any interactions with eye company almost since Kurahi.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Where's the weapon?" Doesn't say anything. Yeah, he goes, "What weapon?" And he just gets smacked across the face with a pistol. And then, as calm as you like, he says, "When you talk to an officer, you say sir." And it's just, without raising, that is intimidating right there.
Yeah. Good blood splatter as well. It looked like a real hard blow.
It did, and you've got everyone looks away. No one will look at what's going on there. They're just like, they're all massively uncomfortable with what's going on. And they don't know what's going to happen here. And he just kind of pulls the pistol, and you got Piconte's eyes go like dinner plates. Everyone steps back because they all think they're about to get brain matter over their uniforms. No one tries to stop him.
I don't think anyone would dare stop him.
No. But yeah, the gun's shaking. And, he hasn't made up his own mind yet. Am I going to kill this guy or not? And then he just stops. He just looks at the blood on the bottom of his hand and wipes it on the guy's shirt and says, "Give this piece of shit to the MPs."
Yeah.
And they were like, "Is he dead?" And he goes, "Kraut surgeon said he's going to live." That's the only reason that guy's still alive. If he was dead, yeah, he'd probably just walked in and shot him.
Yeah.
Flat.
One thing with that, with the shaky gun thing, good acting with the shaky gun thing, with the rattling, etc.
Yeah.
I like to think of Spears as there'd be no shaking of that hand whatsoever. But I suppose when he's thinking the situation through, he's got enough thought power to weigh up absolutely everything that's going on in that room. He can see all the guys, they're looking down, waiting for the shot to happen. They're kind of surprised.
That's the thing, though. I think the shake is there because he is fighting with himself.
Yeah.
I think if he was in normal Spears mode, he just walked in, shot him, no shake, no nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But because he's fighting the urge to do it, that's why there was the shake there.
It's the acting thing, though, isn't it? It's
yeah.
You need to visualize the internal struggle that's going on inside his head at the moment, and so people do that with shaky gun. Yeah,
but that's just great, and we're back to Judge Dredd Spears, not the magpie, not the shiny thing. No, this is
clean, concise, and I think he made the right decision there.
Oh, I think so too, yeah.
I remember that scene going on for longer, though.
Oh, yeah, me too. I felt this was half the episode.
That's what I thought. I thought you saw him getting the shit kicked out of him again and again. It went on for at least 10 minutes, but this was just
I also got it confused with the episode where the lieutenant gets shot on the tracks with Winters.
That's right.
The replaced. I got them kind of confused together, so I thought you saw some of the surgery on Grant and all this, but no, it was like, oh, that was it. Okay.
Yeah, I honestly thought it went on for a lot longer. Okay.
And then you have back to the magpie, Spears chewing out the guy with a photo album.
Oh man, that's brilliant. It's Alton Moore.
Yeah.
Who ends up with because we didn't mention it, but back at the Eagle's Nest when Spears was being a magpie and picking up Lugers and everyone else was opening champagne, he found on one of the tables Hitler's personal photograph collection.
Yeah.
And he was thumbing through it, and you could see pictures of the Führer and the armies, etc. Lots of Nazi flags all over the place. And this Elton guy has been pulled up into Spears' office, and he is throwing a massive tantrum about this.
Oh, yeah.
This is proper going to see the headmaster. You are in shit street, man, because you have stolen his property. This wasn't Hitler's. This was always Spears' collection. Spears had just not collected it yet.
Yeah, Hitler was just looking after it for him.
Exactly, yeah. And yet, this Moore guy has somehow, God knows how, he must have massive trench coat pockets, because he has ended up half-inching that, taking it with him and getting away with it.
Oh, that shit-eating grin when he walks out of that office. It's just like...
I didn't, because I watched this twice. The first time when I saw his grin, because I can't remember seeing it from last time, and when I first saw his grin, I was like, you son of a bitch. And then the second time around, I was like, yeah, you did.
Especially when you hear the voiceover at the end about how he got away with a unique souvenir, Hitler's personal photo albums. Like, yes, he got away with it.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Oh, brilliant. And there's another scene with the guy asking to be busted down.
Yeah, he wants to basically take Grant's position, so resign from first company sergeant to be a staff. Go back to staff sergeant from company sergeant.
Yeah.
So he was in Lipton's position. I can't remember the guy's name, but
well, this is the problem with this episode. You see a lot of slightly familiar faces.
Mm-hmm.
But
so we've not seen for a little while, have we?
Yeah. And they're normally in the background, or you can see them passing, and you're not really introduced to them. And now to give them a kind of story, it's kind of 9 episodes a little bit too late for that.
Yeah.
A bit like Blythe at the very beginning.
Mm-hmm. A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So now we're on the wind down, really, aren't we?
We are on the home stretch, absolutely.
So Winters is giving other people their next duties, really.
Yeah, he's trying to, we hear from Spears he's going to go career. He's going to stay in the army.
Yeah.
Well, he wants to stay with the company, basically, which is fair enough. He definitely seems like the most professional soldier of the lot.
Yeah.
And he's trying to Winters is trying to get other people away however he can. So he's sending people off to be technical advisors on displays of Allied aircraft.
Which is a cushy job, isn't it? It's like, well, yeah, you deserve an easy ride here, so here we go.
Well, it's not only as a cushy job, completely unsuitable for it, really. He's probably not going to know the difference between different marks of Spitfire and a Hurricane, and all that. It's just, like you said, it's just anything I can do to get people, away, back home.
And safe.
So exactly, get them, the further away from where we are now, the less chance of you getting sent to the Pacific. So that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to piecemeal people out. Tries to do the same with Lipton as well. So, he says, look, the rules say you can't really stay with the company when you're promoted because, they're worried about, you're not going to show the respect. It's like, well, he got promoted all the way back in bloody Bastogne, It's not been a problem. It's clearly not a problem. But if I send you back to battalion, you're safe. So that's what he's trying to do. But before he does that, there is a German general who doesn't want to surrender to a private, whatever his fucking name is. So Second Lieutenant Carl Lipton might soothe his ruffled feathers.
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, this German that who is surrendering to Lipton, he's the guy in the photograph that Nixon found in the house last episode.
Oh, yeah. And
Whether it's the same character, I do not know, but it's definitely the same man.
Yeah.
So I would, just off of that, assume it's the same character as well.
Yeah. And I love the speech he gives.
Oh, it speaks to everyone, doesn't it?
It speaks to everyone. And I've often said it. I would love to have seen, I don't know, an episode or a mini. I'd love to have seen their version of the war. Mm-hmm. And again, not because of glorifying the Nazis or anything like that. It's just the way he speaks and the way you see these soldiers, with the battle-weary looks and the blood on the uniform and all that sort of thing. It kind of says that, yes, there was a story there as well. They had got, but there were stories there that I think would be interesting to hear.
Yeah. Well, there's some German officers or German soldiers welling up, choking up during this. And once again, it's the gloss of the big screen that portrays the German soldier / the Nazi soldier as the heartless bastard. So the speech does go down well. We got we've got Libgot translating it for everyone, haven't we?
Well, it was a little bit before that, though.
Oh,
probably my favourite scene in the entire show.
Don't worry, I've got that ringed. Let me just do this. We've got Libgot translating it for everyone and speaking to Winters and Nixon, who are sat in a Jeep.
They are.
And 5 minutes prior to that, something happened, didn't it?
An old friend drops by to say hello.
I'll let you talk us through this bit.
Well, you get a truck drives by, and from behind it, it's Captain Sobel. And he kind of catches a glimpse of Winters and instantly looks away. And whoever the private with him, sergeant with him, salutes. But Sobel just ignores him. So Winters goes, Captain Sobel. And Sobel goes, Major Winters, just nods. And then Winters just goes, you salute the rank, not the man. And Sobel just stops, gives him a salute, and then runs off. And you can tell that Winters has done it just to mess with Sobel. But it's just beautifully done.
Oh, man.
It's maybe the only bit of pettiness you ever see from Winters, and it is entirely earned.
Oh,
because fuck Sobel.
I would love to. Do we know if this actually happened or not?
I don't know.
I would love to know if this actually happened and hear the story behind that. Because I kind of want it to happen, but for Sobel's sake, I kind of don't want it to happen.
Yeah.
But I get it for characterization that it needs to happen. But do you know what got me around this time? It is when the sergeant salutes.
So I've just looked it up. It did happen.
It did happen.
Yeah.
Motherfucker. It's when the sergeant sees Major Winters, salutes, and Sobel does. He kind of sees him salute and then realises who he's saluting and then just looks away as if like, oh, I didn't really see him there. Yeah. You son of a bitch. God damn it, Sobel. Come on, just get your ass in gear. Get your finger out your bum and do it properly. And it's insulting, isn't it? It really is.
Yeah.
In my profession, I've had people come up, I've trained up people and they're higher than me now. And I've got no problems with them being higher than me. No way whatsoever. If you want to get up there, you go for it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it just shows how petty Sobel is.
Yeah. And
I think that's how he just judged his self-worth was, being a superior rank. And yeah, I think it's safe to say he did not have a good war.
He did not. He's over there because they're going to be training again for the invasion over in the Pacific.
I don't know if it's that because he became a logistics officer, didn't he?
Oh, well, last time we saw him, he was still doing training, wasn't he?
Okay.
Because he was.
Well, no, we saw him. No, we saw him when he dropped off someone before the drop on Holland. Remember?
Yeah. Was
it Garnier he dropped off?
I don't remember him dropping off Garnier.
He dropped off someone, and I remember, he accused him of trying to break out of a hospital, but then gave him a lift and dropped him off at the...
the motorbike as well. There was a motorbike.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yes.
Oh, God, I've totally forgotten all about that.
Yeah. But I think he became a logistics officer.
Right.
But immaterial. The point is, he was a dick, and it bit him in the arse.
What a knob. I can't believe that actually happened. Oh, man, just to be in Winter's situation where you can pull rank on him like that. And you don't have to like the guy with the pips or the rank on their shoulders, but you got to respect the rank. You have to.
Yeah.
Flipping hell. Okay, so we close on a baseball game, don't we?
Not yet. Before we get there, we're back on the dock because they're looking at pictures, and Nixon pulls out one of the two of them at Currahee.
Yep.
Saying, whatever happened to those kids? And he says, so New Jersey, huh? He goes, I'll think about it. And that's, you kind of come get breakfast. Nixon's like, I'm going to bed. He's been up all night.
Yeah.
But then,
that relates to a scene, a very, very small scene from Winters in the very first scene of this episode where Nixon comes along and greets him on the side of the river. And he looks at his watch and goes, morning? As if he's never seen him at this time in the morning.
Yeah. But yeah, basically this is picking up from the beginning scene effectively. So we finished the flashbacks. We're now at the present. Mm-hmm. And yeah, he just jumps into the lake in his full gear.
Good man.
And then we jump forward another month because we're now in August.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And now we're on the baseball field.
Okay. And yeah, this is all slow motion. Them having a baseball game. They're having a bit of downtime because I suppose they're still doing exercises and training.
Right. This is PT effectively, but yeah, they're just having they're playing a game of baseball, and we got Buck back, and this is the what everyone did afterwards moment where we get the voiceover explaining what various people did.
This is D-Day plus 434.
Yes.
Yeah. So we get the voice over of what happened to everyone. Certain people have passed on since this as well.
Oh yeah. I mean, again, this was 2001, so I actually think almost everyone's gone now from Easy Company.
Well, while we've been recording this year, we lost Malarkey, didn't we?
Yeah.
I know that. So, yeah, this is the tear-jerking moment as well, where you get to see the people's smiling faces, and they've made it all the way through the war, and you have Winters turn up, and he sits everyone down and says, "No, that's it. You're all going home." And he's like, "Oh, such a relief.
Japan has surrendered.
Yeah,
war's over."
Thus ends our story, but we do get talking heads at the very end.
We finally know who these people are.
Oh, thank goodness! Right, okay. So, how many of these did you get then?
I got about 3 or 4 of them.
Did you?
Yeah, I knew who Winters was. Garnier, but just because the guy that got playing Garnier is literally his twin, separated from birth and time.
God, yes, yeah.
It's like down to the face, down to the voice, everything is just perfect. I got Lipton, I think, and also Shifty Powers.
I got Dick Winters. I got Garnier because that's just nailed on, and I got Shifty Powers. And that was it. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's...
I think I got Malarkey and Lipton the wrong way round. So.
And it's not all the voices at the end of this one. I mean, it's not all the talking heads. There's other people we've seen who aren't featured in here.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. And once again, if you go onto that documentary, which is supplied with the box set, then you'll get to see them all. They are all there. There's even a bit where Garnier and Heffron go back to Bastogne and walk through the trees that they were fighting in. And that is just, oh my God, that's just amazing. So, yeah, there's not a lot I can say about the Talking Heads this time round because it's so emotional. And I personally, I think you need to see that. I'm not going to do that justice. I don't think you're going to do that justice. You just need to go see that. Yeah.
But again, it's over 10 episodes. You know, we have seen their stories, and it's the last, for me, it's the last bit with Dick Winters and the shaky lip. And he says, my grandson asks, was I a hero in the war? And he says, no, but I served in a company of them.
Yeah.
And it's just the way his lips going. It's just like, it's getting dusty in here. It's getting dusty.
It is, yeah. Oh, man. And that's it. Band of Brothers is over.
That's it. We're done.
85 points, man. We've got 85 points.
We're going home.
Oh, excellent. Well, thank you, mate. Honestly, I've thoroughly enjoyed this. Okay, what? Okay. Standout moments for you on the season.
Oh, there's too many. I mean, obviously the second episode, the actual drop, is amazing. The music when those C-47s are all taken off in the first episode as well. I love it. I love the stuff in Bastogne. You know, I don't like being there, but it's just in terms of dramatic presentation, it's awesome. I love the whole damn thing. The only episode which gives me pause and I find difficult to watch is the previous episode.
Why We Fight.
Yeah. And it's supposed to be difficult to watch, and I don't begrudge it for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, rather than standout episodes, I can give you some standout performances. Yeah. And it's the guy playing Garnier. And, you know, he embodies the actual character so well. And obviously, what's the actor's name? Damian Lewis, who plays Winters.
Yeah.
You couldn't have gotten a more perfect actor for that at all.
I think
the casting throughout is just superb.
I think it works throughout. Really does.
Uh-huh.
I'm in awe of it. Standout moments for me. Whenever I think of Band of Brothers, when I'm not rewatching it, I always go back to Bastogne and Lipton's episode. And it's the snow, it's the hell, it's the shit falling down on them, the trees falling down on them, trees exploding. And that is the first image that pops in my head. There are some superb episodes all the way through. There's some dips, but I suppose when you're coming from such a high point, you're allowed these little dips. And even the worst episodes in this are so much better than 99% of TV at the moment. If other TV shows want to get as good as these worst episodes in this.
I mean, I'll tell you that they couldn't even recreate this themselves because we might do the Pacific at some point. We're not going to do it next, but we might do it at some point. But that isn't as good as this. You know, this was lightning in a bottle.
Certainly was. Yeah, absolutely perfect.
Yes.
So, Andy, thank you very much for taking us through Band of Brothers.
Oh, if I was going to serve with anyone, I'm glad it was with you, sir.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Thank you very much. Thank you also to Pete Hammond. And Josh, whose last name I keep forgetting, but Josh from LSG Media. There we go. For joining us on a couple of episodes as well. So, you know,
thank you to everyone who sent feedback in.
Yes, thank you to that. Thank you to everyone on the Facebook page as well for sticking stuff up there. Please continue to stick stuff up there as well. I doubt we'll add to this feed. This is it locked down now. So
yeah, whatever we do next, it might not be related to, or it definitely won't be related to Easy Company and Band of Brothers. So we don't want to kind of trick you into listening to that. So there'll be a new feed. But if you go over to rogue2media.com, you can find out what's coming there. See, it's a plug there.
There we go. Thank you very much. Yeah, pop over there. You'll find all the stuff. You can. Where can they catch you on the internet where they can actually follow you, just in case?
Well, you know what? This is it. I've got no more podcasts after this because we finished the Grand Prix one on Sunday as well. I managed to do it so all my podcasts end on the same week.
That's right. Yeah.
I done fucked up somewhere.
Yeah, you're now free. Oh, do you remember all that stress of, oh God, I've got to record tonight, got to record again. Oh, and
no, I like doing it. I like doing it. It's gone. I'm being sent home against my will.
Well, where can they follow you on Twitter and places like that?
Yes, I'm on them. Their Twitters at Andy3E. So that's the numeral 3 and then an E.
Yep.
And yeah, I'm around, you know. Basically, if you can find Elton, I'm not too far from there. You know, I occasionally go and crash Shonky Lab because I can.
Well, everyone's entitled to do that, aren't they? That's the name of the game.
It is. You need to get better locks on the door for the lab. Yeah,
it's true. You can catch me, as Andy just said, on Shonky Lab, which is shonkylab.com. It's also on Rogue2 Media, which is rogue2media.com or rogue2.com. There's Facebook groups. There's Twitters as well. I'm on Twitter, which is Elton McManus. So you can find me on there, follow me on there. And if I do any more of these, not saying Band of Brothers, but if we do any other series, maybe do the Pacific in a couple of months' time, maybe a couple of years' time. I don't know. Nothing is planned yet. But if I do announce anything like that, then it'll be on there. So once again, thank you to everyone who's downloaded this, everyone who's shared it, everyone who's rated it, everyone who's reviewed it, and just enjoyed it. So thank you very much for being on this journey with us. It's been nearly a year in the making, which I didn't expect it to be. I thought this was going to honestly, I think we started in January and I thought, yeah, we'd have it done in March. We'd have it done by March.
It'll be over by Christmas.
And yes, it was. Hurrah!
Yay, we did it. Yeah, incidentally, I just looked it up. We did Saving Private Ryan on the 12th of January.
Flipping hell, man. Honestly, thought we'd have it done by the first race of this year. Yeah, you can catch me and Andy on the Grand Prix podcast as well. That's all over at rogue2media.com. Also, pop along to blackdogpodcast.com where we have a film review show. Please check out LSG Media. Please check out Jim Moon and his Hypnobobs, Hypnogoria stuff. Danny Davies and his art, which you can find on Instagram, and all the other stuff that I linked to. There we go. So I think that's it. So not until next time, this is it. This is goodbye. So thank you very much to everyone, and goodbye.
Goodbye.